Hello, everybody. Ben and I have decided to have a chat with Bart here because, none of the three of us are known for selling supplements. So, have we sold out? What's been going on here? What has made us decide to have a look at this particular product? I wish there were a load of supplements to sell because I'd certainly have a better car, or at least one that wasn't broken most of the time, and other things. But I've been sent a load of things, even the freeze-dried organ meat, stuff like that. And I thought, hey, maybe this is something I can sell. Nah, it didn't resonate with me. Nothing did. But there's something about this Cerule product which has really got me thinking that it's worth looking into. So we had a long chat with Bart a little while ago to get some of the info about it. But what I'd like to do in this one for people who are thinking about trying it or signing up to sell it or whatever is to ask a few questions that I think a lot of people have asked and I've asked in my head, and I've been asked as well and had to refer them back to Bart. So I don't want to bother him too much. We can get them all out the way in this video. So Bart, what is it? But you haven't sold a load of supplements, right? But you and all of us push carnivore diet, lifestyle, all of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is it that got you to look at this? Because I know how important stem cells are, and
Yeah.
what is the sort of importance of stem cells? What goes on as we age, and why does this? Why did you look at this one particularly?
Right. First of all, thanks for having me, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to put myself in front of you guys in a completely different guise as I would normally be wearing. This is not the character, the YouTube character. This is the independent Cerule business owner doing the Q&A session, just so that you can see that I really, truly am quite multifaceted, actually. And, that's for another day. So, yes, right. The deal with Cerule is as follows. Basically, in our bodies, we have a system by which our bodies normally repair, renew, rejuvenate our tissues. We heal from injuries, old cells that need replacing are replaced, etc. The system by which our body does that is through a system of what are called adult stem cells. These are a population of stem cells that reside in the long bones, mostly, actually in the bone marrow. And they reside there until they receive a signal to be released. They are then released and they go around in the blood and they find tissues in need of renewal and repair, and that's what they do. It's actually quite miraculous when you think about it. So that's one of the most fundamental points that someone needs to get. That's how your body renews and repairs itself. Adult stem cells. Blank cells with your DNA that are released, float around, find a damaged heart cell and decide to replace it with a new one, sort of thing. As we age, you go on. Sorry, Ben. Absolutely, yes, please.
Because like we say that some cells in your body, or your skin replaces itself every 14 days or whatever. Your liver cells, or you've got an entirely new liver within whatever. And I think a lot of the areas where cancers tend to emerge are the areas where you get the highest turnover of cells, like the whole digestive system, reproductive organs, stuff like that. So all of these cells, are they always replaced by stem cells? You don't get kind of they don't just like split into two cells and carry on.
I see what you mean. Yeah. So the normal life cycle of any given cell line is that cell differentiates from either an embryonic stem cell or from an adult stem cell. And it will have a lifespan at X number of cell divisions that cell will undertake in order to keep the numbers up. So as cells die off, the fact that they're dividing suchly means that the tissue keeps up for quite a while. But when a cell is so badly damaged that it's no longer able to do that process, it needs replacing, or that cell, where that cell should be in that tissue or that organ, there's going to be a hole there. You have enough holes in your organs, dysfunction, decrepitude, aging, and sadly our eventual death.
Got it. And that's mitosis, when the cells divide
Split in
into
half, yes.
carriers.
Yeah. So mitosis is a cell splitting in half. It's quite a normal thing. Cells do it all the time. What we're talking about is replacing cell lines, basically. When a cell is so badly damaged that it will no longer divide, when that cell dies, there's a hole there if we don't replace that cell. That's the cell that the adult stem cell will come and fix with a new one. Right. Hey, presto, problem solved. Unfortunately, as we age, every year beyond about 18 years of age, actually, sadly, our ability to release these adult stem cells from the bone marrow to the blood decreases, such that a 50-year-old will have half their capacity remaining, and a 70-year-old will have about 30% of their capacity remaining to renew and repair their tissues, which is one of the reasons why they are physically aged. And you can tell that, you know, they're getting long in the tooth and all of that. When I first heard about the Cerule product, I went, that's ridiculous, was my immediate response. I thought that's got to be one of these quackery claims. But a lot of people may have heard my story. I came across it because I saw an advertisement for a company that was the predecessor company to Cerule. They were looking for someone to be a product trainer for their distributor force, someone a bit scientific that could help their distributors explain this product and, you know, teach them what to say and what not to say and stuff. And that's how I first came across the product. And the claim was that, you know, this was a product that was causing the bone marrow to upregulate its ability to release the adult stem cells, and that there was peer-reviewed research that we could look at that shows that, yep, look, this is being observed happening. And understanding what I did about how stem cells replace and renew tissues, etc., among other things they do actually, I was immediately like, well, if that's true and the research suggests that it is, then this is a product that every person on this planet could do with. I mean, who wouldn't want to encourage their body to renew and repair itself, to basically give old Father Time the old bird, if you like, flip the old bird.
So to be clear, what we're talking about, like you say, 50 years old, you know, 70, the rate of production of these adult stem cells, which can completely refresh, like as new, showroom condition, replace your cells in your heart, your liver, your eyes, brain, wherever it may be. Yes. Right? But this tapers off over time.
Yes.
And you might think, well, and that's almost like a kind of a programmed obsolescence.
It is exactly
obsolescence that. in the human being. And people might think, well, what's the point of that? You know, from a biological point of view, it makes perfect sense though, evolutionarily, because for the benefit of the species, you don't want people hanging around for 150 years eating all the food when they may be beyond reproductive age and not that useful. You know, you want to reach reproductive age in good condition. You want to get your job done, reproduce, raise your children so that they mature, and then you're not really required anymore. So from the point of view of Homo sapiens, it makes sense for us to decline and eventually, you know, pack in.
Yeah.
But from the point of view of you and the individual, it's not so much in your interests. So it is. So what we're talking about, if this product stimulates the bone marrow in your big bones to keep up that rate of spitting out, continuously making spitting out these stem cells, it is a cheat, isn't it?
Sure.
If
Absolutely.
if it does what it says.
Yeah. Well, the peer-reviewed literature I've seen regarding that question suggests it does. You take 2 capsules of StemEnhance ULTRA and you get at peak around 4.5 million extra circulating cells, I believe it was from memory, which then tapers off over the next 4 or so hours after that back to baseline. So, you know, that's plus or minus. Obviously, there's a a measurement error and a biological error and a variability inherent to the individuals and stuff, but that was what they found. And anecdotally, it seems like the expected benefits that a person might suspect they would get from increased circulating stem cells are the sorts of things that people are reporting actually occurring. It's incredible. Now, I did not just make a cause and effect claim, you'll note. I just said, look, there seems to be an association. Just to be clear on that.
Cool. So what is Cerule? We've got some questions here, and we're kind of, well, I sort of put like, oh, Ben, you know, had an idea and I had an idea. So I'm asking one that's Ben's actually here, but what is Cerule, and what is it's an algae, right? And they've been collecting this for a while, and
yeah,
what is the difference between Cerule and other products along this line that claim to do the same kind of thing?
Got it. Okay. The flagship product of the Cerule stable of oral supplementation products is a product called StemEnhance ULTRA. It's the one that does the stem cell releasing. There you go. Thank you, Ben. It's that one. It consists of an extract from a particular species of blue-green cyanobacter, which they refer to as algae, because it grows in a lake in these hair-like filamentous structures that look like some kind of, well, when you say the word algae, the first thing you're going to think is plants, isn't it? Algae's a plant. Okay, this stuff is not from a plant, because AFA, the blue-green cyanobacter we're talking about, it has this whole Latin name. I can't even pronounce it. Scientist, I can't say it. So we'll just call it AFA. It's not a plant. Neither it's an animal, by the way. It's a whole thing in another class in between animals and plants called cyanobacter. They were actually the first things that evolved on the planet, we think. Not this particular species, them in general. This one has developed serendipitously a chemical that it produces, which is the active ingredient of StemEnhance. And that's the thing that causes the upregulation of the release of the stem cells from the bone marrow. It was discovered by a bloke who I actually met a few times back in the day, who kind of is thought of as the bloke that first noted this effect. And since then, it's about 30 years actually that they've been harvesting AFA out of this particular lake and using it, various companies, to make various products. And I think that was what you were alluding to there, Phil. How do we know that this stuff is different from other stuff? Okay, here it is. There are other companies with dried AFA out of the very same lake selling that, look, we have AFA too, and we've got it heaps cheaper. Here's the problem. What they've done literally is take the AFA out of the lake, dry it, put it in bottles and sell it to you. Problem with cyanobacters that live in lakes of this kind is that they tend to be all full of things like heavy metals and, you know, all sorts of problematic, toxic nasties, including AFA. It's pretty toxic too, if that's what you were going to do. I wouldn't do that. No. The Cerule company has a proprietary filtration system that cleans the stuff up, basically, and makes it fit for consumption, safe and effective and safe. So they say. And they have the lab reports to back that claim up too. So I'm not just being flippant. This is a world patented filtration product that nobody else has got, that you can put this toxic stuff through and it comes out completely clean. And the active ingredient still works. It needs to be activated thereafter in a specific drying process as well to make it work. And then it gets encapsulated and sent off to the lovely Cerule customers, expecting the stem cell release to occur. Because the other thing you won't get from dried AFA out of the lake is much stem cell release. It won't do that. It's not activated. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Cool. What's next? Go on, Ben.
What's the mechanism? How do we think that this consuming this bacterium or algae bacterium, because it's a really, really ancient thing as well, and it's been around since before plants.
Yes.
How does it manage to stimulate the stem cell production? Do we know?
Right. Yeah. The process of release of the stem cell from the bone marrow involves 2 steps. Firstly, there is a mother cell, a mother master adult stem cell, which is permanently locked to the bone marrow structure. That's never released. It's actually also an immortal cell line. Interesting. What happens is that cell undergoes mitosis. It splits into 2, and in between, there is a protein strand, a tether, which prevents the release of the daughter cell. We need a chemical pair of scissors that will cut through that tether. The daughter cell now floats away, and then the mother cell goes, when I'm ready, I'll produce another. I shall produce another. They will take that one from me too, but I shall do it, for it is my duty. And so the process repeats. As we age, the tether gets more gnarly, harder to cut, and the number of pairs of sharp scissors available are reduced. This particular substance in that blue-green cyanobacter called AFA, when properly activated and cleaned up to make it safe, i.e. Cerule products, when you take those, they are sharp scissors on that. They just hoe through it. It's like a chainsaw. So that's how that works.
Right, so it's not stimulating the production of the stem cells. It just allows them to get released more quickly, and then the mother cell will keep just popping out more babies.
Yeah, at a maximum rate. Obviously, there's a limitation. An adult stem cell, one of the master cells, is not going to divide if it's not ready to, because it has to go through another life cycle to get ready to divide again. And that takes X amount of time. But you still get this huge, like 4.5 million increase in your circulating stem cells for several hours. The good news is that those 4.5 million cells are actually also capable of multiple divisions of their own. They can self-procreate. So you get this massive flush of the things, and they will float around in the blood with their chemical radar signals, seeking out tissues in need of renewal and repair.
Yeah, so we had a technical glitch there. Bart suddenly went quiet. So you were talking about cells floating around the body and replacing other cells. So okay, let's cut to the chase then, Bart. What can it do for us? And what are we allowed to say or not allowed to say?
Right, okay. So in theory, what can having an increased number of adult stem cells do for you is almost anything you could possibly imagine. These things can and do find and repair damaged tissues all over the place. They do it in the order that your body determines is the most appropriate order. And as such, as a company, we are not allowed to say, this is good for your bad knee. This will fix up your eyesight good and proper. You will grow hair back. We can't say such things. I've tried that one, by the way. Yeah. Apparently my body doesn't think it's a priority or a medical emergency to not have any hair. So that's why that doesn't happen. But no, we are bound by FDA rules. It's an American company. And so all the distributors worldwide all adhere to the same rules. And that is that we just simply don't make any therapeutic claim of any kind. What we say is this product, with demonstrable evidence here from peer review, does exactly what it says it does on the tin. It releases or causes the release of adult stem cells to occur. And that's a good thing.
Those studies, Bart, I mean, somebody was asking me, among the studies I've seen on the Cerule website, that there's a whole load of studies. Are any of these done on people who are living,
Yeah.
or is they all?
Yeah. The one I'm talking about with, increased circulating adult stem cells 2 hours after taking 2 capsules, that was done on people.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? There are other things that help create stem cells, or is it only something like this that has those sort of chemical scissors that will help to release the stem cells? But what about, if somebody's on a carnivore diet and dry fasting, maybe, which is said to increase stem cell production? Is that enough? Or, why would anybody take something else to help boost that up?
Got it. Okay. Well, first of all, not everybody wants to do a 5-day fast to stimulate the stem cell release that you might get from such a fast. I actually don't even know what the numbers are that are released following fasting of given periods of time for adult stem cells. I would find it hard to believe that it would be anything like what the Cerule product is targeted at. And yes, there are other things that can also cause the release of these adult stem cells. And some of those things are far more powerful than Cerule, absolutely. The problem then being, though, that if you dump too many of these cells into your blood too quickly, that thickens your blood up to a paste and causes you to drop dead. So that's not a good thing either. This is a product that they've formulated to work at the right range to sort of optimize the likelihood of renewed and repaired tissues in people, and all the while not making any claims that any such thing will occur. It seems bizarre, but we're just following the rules of the
So we know
FDA.
it releases a heap of stem cells, and we know what stem cells can do, which is almost anything.
Yes.
Okay, so serve me some more science. Can you talk a bit about the mysterious world of the telomeres?
Yes, telomeres are like the plastic things that you will find on the end of shoelaces. I think they're called aglets. Somebody told me once. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But those obviously are supposed to stop the shoelace from fraying. It's kind of the same thing. These things are on the end of your chromosomes. They stop your chromosomes from falling to bits. It's a parsimonious description. I know science people, don't get on me about that. It's supposed to be accessible. But anyway, that's kind of what the role of it is. It holds the thing together. When it gets to a certain short length, it no longer allows for that cell to be able to reproduce anymore. Basically, the cell becomes what they call senescent. And that occurs after a set number of cell divisions, which is programmed into that cell at its outset with a full-length telomere. Every time it divides, it loses a couple of base pairs. So it gets shorter every time it divides. When it gets to a certain critical short length, that's the end of that cell line life. That cell dies, there's your whole.
And that's probably got an evolutionary benefit as well. You don't want cells just continually dividing and ad infinitum. You want them to be replaced eventually.
Yes. And also it's part of the design for your system to ultimately fail and fall to bits and become decrepit, and for your life to end at some point. But this product, again, we're not saying this is a fountain of youth, because that would be a therapeutic claim. But what we're saying here is this: okay, when an adult stem cell is released, goes around in the blood, finds a cell to replace that's at the end of its life span of divisions, and it replaces that cell, it does that with a full-length telomere, because adult stem cells have telomerase, which is an enzyme that rebuilds telomeres after every division. You know how I said those master adult stem cells are immortal? That's why. Because every time they divide, they then replace those lost base pairs and repair the length of their telomere.
Wow. Is it true? I heard that there was some study recently that also said that the only food that showed a significant increase in telomere length was red meat.
I think I saw a headline around that at one point. I don't think I actually read the paper.
Yeah, I never read papers. I just read headlines. You know, it's all useless anecdotes in my world. I leave the science to you. But
I can tell you the science is pretty useless too on most of those topics, but that's for another day.
I can tell. So I let you sort out the ones that are
they
okay.
looked at all kinds of lifestyle factors, from age, race, gender, diet, all you know, where you live in the world, all kinds of stuff. And the only thing that they found that meant anything at all was red meat consumption appeared to be positively associated with telomere length. That's it.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. It's almost as if we're designed for the stuff.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Absolutely crazy talk. Crazy talk.
Yeah. Are there any known side effects to this, but any downsides of this that anybody's noticed?
Okay. In 30 years of this product and its predecessors in various forms, held by various companies throughout that period of time since the discovery about 30 years ago, there have been no life-threatening adverse reactions of any kind reported. Nothing of that sort has occurred. There was one person at one point who reacted because they had an allergy to a certain shellfish protein that somehow got into this thing that company was doing at the time, not the Cerule company. This was well before Cerule. So they identified that problem. Yes, it was a shellfish protein. They found it in that company's product, and then that company took the actions they needed to prevent that from occurring again at that time. But that's all in the past. What we have now is a product that is apparently safe and effective and safe. So it is. Trust me, I'm the science on this. Don't question it. I'm kidding. Absolutely question it. Check it out for yourselves. But yeah, there's just nothing. I mean, sometimes a person might get an upset tummy for a day or two when they first get started, and then that settles down and it's fine. Even rarer than that, the occasional slight skin rash for a day or two of a certain kind. That's very, very rare these days with the new and improving formulation all the time. I'm just trying to think if in the last 5 years of anybody that's reported to me anything remotely concerning, and I can't think of a single one.
Well, I haven't been taking it for long, but I've been taking it for about a month. I certainly haven't noticed any downsides. Have you, Ben? I think it's early days for me to notice particular upsides, but you know, certainly nothing negative.
No downsides for me either. No. I think that the thing that I'm really curious about is, like, you know, going back to that point that we mentioned at the beginning, that all of us have always steered away from recommending supplements, pills and potions and all that kind of stuff before. But I mean, so you take this yourself, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Phil's taking it. I mean, what other kind of supplements and stuff do you choose to take for your own personal health? And
on a daily basis, I take. And why? Okay. On a daily basis, I take Cerule StemEnhance ULTRA. I take 8 of those in 2 lots of 4 at this time. Sometimes I increase it to 16 if there's something going on that I think might need some extra assistance. I take the same again in Cyactive, which is our anti-inflammatory product. I take 2 of the joint-specific, connective tissue-specific ones as well, because I had a Achilles tendon injury about 12 months ago, which is still on the mend. 2 of our blood flow optimizers called Plasma Flow. 1 or 2 of the collagen supplements. And now we've got a new product, which is a rehydration product with electrolytes and such. So I'm taking 1 of those as well. Occasionally, Pim will sneak some kind of NAC tablet in there or something.
That's about it for supplements. I don't supplement anything else on a regular basis at all.
Wow.
So this company's product are the only ones I myself take, and they're the only products that I am promoting to people as Bart approved. This stuff is good. It does what it says. We also have a skincare range in Cerule. People often forget that too. Stem cell related, it brings the stem cells under your skin forward, so you get brand spanking new skin and look young and beautiful. If that's of interest to people.
Wow.
But I'm more excited about the nutraceutical effect on the potential of the renewed cells and the full-length telomeres and tissues, and being viable for a longer period. Yeah.
So, you know, this is a difficult question that we might have to deal with in code, but over the past few years, people have regretted having an undesirable substance been put into their bodies.
Yeah.
And there seem to be a lot of side effects from that. Do you think that this could have a beneficial effect for somebody who might, I mean, we're getting into that area of, you know, making claims, but would it be worth adding to a protocol to try and unwind the damage that's been done to so many people?
I certainly would be doing that and suggesting that to a person I knew to be in that position who wanted my advice on that. I would absolutely suggest that more circulating adult stem cells to renew and repair damage, and try and wind back things that, you know, some of which may be able to be wound back and some not, unfortunately. But I would definitely do that, and I would pile in the anti-inflammatory Cyactive as well. I would also probably encourage plasma flow, because that actually contains an enzyme very similar to this nattokinase that's all the rage right now. And that has been implicated as a possible agent that might be effective in terms of despiking the road of spikes that someone might have left on the road at some point, so that tires don't get damaged by said spikes.
Nicely put. Yeah. Yeah. Have you got anything else on that, the sort of health side of it, Ben, before we move on to the businessy side?
No, I think that's good.
Cool. Thank you, Bart.
I think we've said just about everything we're allowed to say.
Yes, probably. Yeah. Now people, this is marketed in a sort of multi-level marketing structure,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are very suspicious and turned off by that. I got involved in one in the early 90s, and you know, it wasn't a health product, but it was marketed like that, although I didn't market it exactly like that, because I know there's ways you can market this which aren't MLM. But you know, it worked. It was a good product, so I did it, sold it to companies. I had a whole of Jordan lined up as my territory. I was made for life, and then the company exploded. And so, you know, I haven't got anything. I haven't had anything to do with an MLM company since then. It will put people off that it's marketed in that way. I'm looking at it as this is a good product. It's a little bit of a downside that it's marketed in that way. Although, you know, if it's done honestly, it's a great business opportunity for people. But what would you say to people who are, you know, suspicious about MLM?
Well, several things. First of all, I'd say, you know, a good dose of healthy skepticism is a great thing. I too was involved in MLMs way back in the early. I did the Amway thing and all of that sort of stuff, as you know, like many people did. While this is structured as an MLM, while the pay plan works that way, that doesn't mean a person who wants to affiliate themselves with a good product for profit would necessarily need in any way to involve themselves in what I call traditional MLM marketing protocols, behaviors, the kinds of things that MLM people do that turn everybody off. The way I market Cerule products is to use my social media influence sphere as a means to get the message out to people, A, that their body renewal and repair ongoingly relies on adult stem cell availability, and every year it's going to drop. B, there's a great product that can fix that problem up. Here's the evidence if you want to see it that it does. C, here's where you get it from. And D, if you want to earn some money instead of spending it, just let me know. We have a program for that too, for affiliates. That's all I do. I say that message basically, and sometimes as parsimoniously as I just did, even. And
well, it's an old technique, isn't it, Bart? You're using that Hegelian business or whatever it is, the problem reaction solution. But in this case, at least the solution is not horrifically harmful like it is with most of the people that use that.
Correct.
And the problem is real.
And the problem is real, yes. Yes. You will at some point get to a point where your body will no longer function. Here is a product that has the potential to impact that, and that is not a therapeutic claim, because I'm not allowed to say that.
I would say, from being in like marketing for 30 years, MLM gets a bad rap, but that's probably because of the companies that have used it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong in it as a model. I think it's actually a very, very good model in that it does give people the opportunity to set up a side business or even a main business of their own with no, financial input, no capital really at risk and stuff like that. And it's a great way to grow a good company if you've got one. It's also a great way to grow a bad company. It just, it's down to the companies, it's down to the product. It's not inherent in the model itself. So for full disclosure, guys, Phil and I have signed up under Bart. So Bart is like our upstream recommender for this. And I would just, sum up by saying that we're interested in this in the same way, for the same reasons that you are, that it's not so much of a supplement. It definitely is a hack. But I without making any claim, I'm curious, right? I mean, and there are things like, and also, Bart, can you mention what you said to us on a previous call about how you recommend that people do this, starting with writing a list? I think that's fascinating.
Right.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, basically what I said to people is when you first start taking a Cerule product, it's a good idea to get a notebook together and start at the top of your head and work your way down to the bottom of your toes and write down every stupid, tiny, inane niggle or problem anywhere on or around or in your body that you can think of. And don't forget to include psychological stuff, mood state, all of that as well, not just the physical.
So including things like ringing in the ears or, short-sightedness,
anything, whatever it is. And things that you've probably become, things that you will have accepted as being part of life because it's been going on for quite some time now and that's how it is, that you think, well, this is just it. But write those things down, all of them, every single complaint, and your comparison is how you felt as an 18-year-old kid. That's what you write down. Then you take the product daily for not less than 6 months, I say to people, because while this is magic, it's not a magic pill, a magic potion that works like that. This thing needs time to get momentum in your body and all of that. Once you've taken the product for 6 months, that will be the first time you next look at that journal because you will have put it in the bottom of a drawer somewhere. And you'll laugh your heads off because things will be better that you'd forgotten were wrong. Happens every time. I have never had someone come back to me after 6 months on Cerule products and say, well, you know what? I think that was a waste of time for me. Not once.
That's cool. I'm really interested to see because I only have a problem with like 2 joints. I don't really have anything else. But it was, they got pretty damaged during the times it was inflamed. But it is great to do that because somebody sent me a scan of my book, that Arthritis, the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me book from 10 years ago. And it had a section in it. I haven't read it, for years. I don't read my own book or whatever. But they'd sent me this thing and it was like a list of ailments that I'd sent to my rheumatologist. And it was incredible. It was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. So it is a really good technique. And this was like looking back 10 years, and there's so many things. So did I really have that? Did I worry about that? Did I? So I think that's a fantastic idea. So the sort of, could you explain a little bit, probably the last question really, I think,
Sure.
the sort of earning opportunities for people, not like you're going to earn such and such, but I mean the structure. How has it worked for people who have never done the MLM before, the levels, this kind of thing?
Yeah. Okay, so when a person decides they want to become an affiliate with us, an associate, a member of the team, an independent business owner in their own right, they will have an introducer who gets an override from the company on any volume that that person generates from that point forward. So that's one of the earning streams, is that you'll get an override on downstream produced business. Another way you can make income is through personally introducing people who have decided not to be a business associate, but who still want to buy this product, because obviously. And then you get paid the retail markup by the company. Everybody that buys the product directly from the company off the website, using your individual link that you get when you join as an IBO. So they log into your version of the Cerule website, they order their product from there, they pay the Cerule company, etc. And the Cerule company handles the logistics and gets it sent to their door, and it arrives in 70 different countries within a few days. It's pretty impressive, really. And then they take the retail markup that is due to you as the salesperson, and they pay it to your account. So that's another good way of making income. When you get to certain levels, you get to take trips overseas that the company pays for. So that's kind of almost like another form of income, if you like. When you get to other levels, you get to share in a global sales pool of all the sales made in the entire company around the world that month. I'm hoping to achieve that very, very soon myself, by the way. It's actually getting dangerously close this month, but I don't think it'll happen this month. Anyway, that's for another day. Another great way of making money is saving it. So we've got that one covered as well, because when you join the business as an IBO, if you want to put this is what I'm going to consume on a monthly basis, you put that on an auto ship, and then you find 3 people who you can convince that that same wellness pack of products is what they would probably like to take for themselves too, and they agree with you and they want to buy it retail, but they don't want to be a business associate. Find 3 of those people, the company no longer charge you for yours. It's now free. That's awesome. You can have your products for free just by finding 3 people who you introduce, who you give them the opportunity to be a business associate, because why wouldn't you? And they say, well, no, but I get what those products are and I want them. I'll buy them from you. I don't mind. I'll pay retail.
Yeah, so you can do it casually. It doesn't have to be a business of yours.
Look, you do it at your own pace. Absolutely. Yes. I like to do it quickly, rapidly, by talking to as many people about Cerule as efficiently as I possibly can. And the way to do that is by using the social media influence, doing things regarding it on my own channel, appearing on other people's channels, talking about this product and what it is and what it does, etc. That's the way I do it. But you can do it with your auntie and your wife's brother's mate and their dog down the road if you want to.
So final question for me. Like we say, there's good companies, there's bad companies out there using this strategy. How long have you known the Cerule company in its present form, and what is your perception of this company, and why should we trust it?
Okay. The owners of the Cerule company, one of whom I met just this year, December of last year it was, in Hawaii. It was the first time I met him. The other Cerule owner has been known to me since 2010. He was the bloke that was looking for a product trainer for the previous version of the business before Cerule. He was one of the shareholders in that business. They had a problem with the major shareholder. What he wanted to do was take the active ingredient out of the product because it was getting too expensive to buy it, and not tell people that they'd changed the formulation. And so they said, thanks for your services. We'll now dissolve this company. We'll start a new company. And so that's how that occurred. And that's an example of how that bloke is. He's an ex-Navy officer, and everything is shipshape, and everything is paid when it should be paid, always is, always has been. Everything's squared away. Any situation that comes up is handled. But not just efficiency and trustworthiness and discipline and all that. But here's another example. There was a competition a few years ago to see who could recruit the most people in Cerule in the world in a short 90-day challenge. Recruit as many people as you can, was the competition. There was one prize and one prize only, and that prize was an all-expenses trip to Hawaii, which actually didn't happen until December just gone just now because of some kind of world event that occurred around the same couple of years, whatever. Anyway, there were two very close combatants in that competition over that 90-day period. And it so happens it was myself and the woman from French Guiana. And we ended within, I think it was 20 recruits of each other at the end of 90 days, and we each had more than 300 or something stupid. So what did Andy do? Andy's the bloke I'm talking about that owns the Cerule company. He turned around and said, so look, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take you both off. That sort of thing. You know, fantastic, awesome. He didn't have to do that because there was one prize and one prize only. And, you know, nothing else was advertised or promised. It was awesome. I got to meet her because that was the only way I ever would meet her, because she's in French Guiana. But there we were in Hawaii. Hey, amazing, great competition and all that. Only with very broken French, because my French is awful, sort of thing, and her English is as bad as my French. So there was that. Yeah, Andy Goodwin is a bloke I would trust with pretty much my life, really, if it came to that, personally. And that's from having worked for him as an employee originally, then become a customer of a company that he was then running, and then to become a distributor in that company. I was a customer of Cerule for about 10 years before I started promoting it. So, you know, I've seen it from every angle, and I've been perfectly happily satisfied with it from every angle. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's just a top-notch company, top-notch. But he's also a Kiwi, Andy, so is therefore clearly absolutely top shelf. Jono, the other owner, is a South African, but so he's a bit dodgy, although very, very sharp. I like Andy. I like Jono a lot. We were in a car because Jono was driving a few of us home from an event we were doing in Hawaii, because a couple of us felt a bit seedy because of how we'd behaved the night before in terms of imbibing things and stuff. And there was a phone call where Andy was on the phone to Jono. Oh, how are they doing? How are the troops? No, blah, 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 blah. Oh, how's Bart? And Jono's like, well, Andy, I'm afraid to say he's still quite bald. That kind of, it's that kind of buzz, So no, they're good folks, and and there's been a bit going on recently as well in terms of ideas around product developments and things that the company have come to me to get some input on to, as well as some of the other senior. It's not just because I'm me that they've come to me. They've come to me and some of the other senior members of the marketing team around the world to ask us what we think. Hey, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about that. So they're not just doing things, that they understand that we're all in business for ourselves and they want some input from us. So that's great too. That's awesome. We have awesome seminars and there's the camaraderie if you want that sort of thing as well. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome, and the incomes that are possible are very, very significant and very real.
Awesome. Well, no further questions, Your
Great.
Honor.
Thank you so much, Bart. So if anybody wants to have a go at this or try the products or sign up, there's a link underneath, which is our one, which is bfc.cerule.com, which is Big Fat Challenge. So we've signed up as that, and thank you so much, Bart. And it's great having you there so that we can ask these questions. Thank you so much for coming on.
And if
My
anyone's
pleasure.
got any other questions, please, send them to us or whatever. We'll feed back to Bart if we need to.
Look, if we have to have another session, we can do that. That's great.
Awesome.
Cool.
Marvelous.
Right, thanks, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Awesome.